I'll probably end up giving it away to somebody. So I picked this car up about 2 or 3 days ago. It's a 72 Fiat. I actually picked it up for free on Facebook Marketplace. It doesn't have a title, doesn't have a motor, doesn't have a transmission, but it's kind of a cool little car. I don't know exactly what I'm gonna do with it. For the time being, a company sent me this cordless buffer. They said they wanted me to test it out, so I figured this would be like the perfect car to do a paint restoration video on. And it looks like it would buff out beautifully. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna give my honest opinion. I didn't pay for this thing. They sent it to me for free. With that being said, if it sucks, I'm gonna say it sucks. If it's great, I'm gonna say it's great. So hopefully it works out. It's gonna be really cool to have a cordless buffer. That way, if I'm out in the field and there's an old junk car that I'm picking up, I can buff it before I even drive it home. Well, that didn't work. So what I'm gonna do is I got my 55 and I have a piece of square tubing with a chain going through it. I'm gonna tie one piece of the chain here, one piece of the chain there, and I'm just gonna push this thing all the way up in the shop. Whew, I'm tired. Whew, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's fitting to rain. It is fixing to rain. Here's a little walk around before. The car really doesn't look too bad. There's a lot of deep scratching. It goes all the way down to the bare metal. And I really like this roof rack, or trunk lid rack. If I sell the car or part it out, I'll probably keep that, but this is the worst side. This quarter panel, paint's completely worn through. There's some rust holes, some rust here, paint's missing here, paint's missing here. But overall, this really would be the perfect car to restore, fix up, and maybe like build a hardtop for it. Maybe a small block V8 or even like a V6 from a 2006 Charger or something. Obviously on this section of the hood, we're not gonna be able to restore that. I don't know what happened there. I don't know if that was like an accident and they blended the paint in and they used like a cheap paint and it faded out. Just to test this buffer and see how this paint's gonna turn out, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this section of the hood from here to here. I'm gonna put a piece of tape down the middle, buff this section so we can get a comparison, and then I'll go ahead and buff the whole car. Now let's see what our kit comes with. Looks like we have a foam flat pad, foam waffle pad. Oh cool, 2000 grit sandpaper. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. So you can use this thing to sand the whole car. Wow, that's gonna come in handy. The biggest thing I'm worried about with this is the battery life. Usually with these cheaper units, battery life sucks on it. Check this out. Oh, no way. It came with a tarp, or an apron. Of course, the buffer. Kind of reminds me of like a Makita or something. But, I mean, it feels heavy duty. The plastic feels good. We have a cotton, one battery. I think they sell 2 kits, one with 2 batteries and then one with 1 battery. So let's see if it's charged. Cool. Variable speed setting on it. Looks like it tells us our battery life. Let's plug it in for about an hour, probably 30 minutes, come back. That way we can give it a fair test. And if it fails on us, we'll pull out the old trusted 110 plug-in buffer. Yeah, it's pretty cool that it came with this apron. I put some crappy clothes on, and while that battery's charging, I'm gonna go ahead and take these wheels off of this 84 Ram Charger because I'm doing a little trade-a-rooney with a guy. I'm gonna trade him all 4 of these brand new tires, which came on the car, for a fender, grill, bumper from my 1974 Roadrunner, or Saturunner, or Rotolite, whatever you want to call it. It's a satellite, but also, you'll never believe this, but locally, at just a local glass shop, they had one of these windshields, and they came and stabbed it in for 180 bucks. So that's pretty sweet. I guess while I'm waiting for it to charge, pop some of these dents out. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up, but there's a dent right here. Like I said, this body is really straight. Just a lot of little dings here and there. Just take a hammer and a rag, wrap her up. Of course, that's the con when it comes to beating dents out with a hammer. You always leave little dimples. But it's better than a huge dent. Oh yeah, I don't think I showed you guys under the hood yet. Let's check out under the hood. And then also, I have not popped the trunk, so I do not know what's in the trunk. I'll tell you what though, this dash is in really good shape. I think it's a cover, but still. Definitely had to do some measuring, but see if a small block, maybe a small block Mopar will fit in there. If not, I know for a fact like a V6, a Chrysler V6 from like a Dodge Charger or Dodge Challenger would fit in there. For a little car, this thing has some room. And here's another thing too. Check out how tight the steering is. I mean, that is crazy tight. Probably going to turn into a red car because this looks red, this looks orange. Look at the door jamb. Oh yeah, oh yeah, somebody painted this car orange 100%. Check this out, orange and red. But look how solid this thing is. I mean, the rockers, there's no rust in the rockers, a little bit in the quarter. It has the glass too. The glass and the door glass is there. You know what'd be really cool? All right, just hear me out, hear me out. Picture this. If I built a roof on this thing and I brought it back and made it a station wagon, how cool would that be? Oh man, I'm starting to get ideas now. This thing would be awesome if I could build, I could figure out, I'd have to find a car that has a front windshield in it and build it around that front windshield, and then the back would just be flat glass, side would be flat glass. That would be freaking awesome, dude. If I could build a little spider station wagon. Ideas. Let's see what's in this trunk. Yeah, you can see the red paint. The red was definitely cooler. I mean, the trunk is solid. There's no rust in the trunk, just in the quarters right there. Really, it just needs like some patches in the lower quarters. Got a big trunk too for a little car. Cut all these out, cut the top of the quarters off, and just build up from there. Have like a cool looking back half come up, like swoop up. Have it kind of swoop up and then just go straight across the top. Man, that'd look cool. It'd be even cooler to do like a delivery, a little mini delivery wagon where there's no windows, there's no glass in the rear, it's just all metal. And then I wouldn't have to, only thing I'd have to find is just the front windshield. I'm sure somebody's looking for this. If you have one of these Fiats and you need that convertible top, I'll sell it to you for pretty much nothing. If you're local, just come pick it up. Been charging for about an hour now. It's still showing red on the charger, but showing 3 bars in green on the unit itself. So I can tell you right now, it's got good balance. What I got here is I just bought the cheapest compound I could find on Amazon. I figured this extra heavy cut and then a wool pad would be the best. I guess that's a bit of compound on there. Put it around 4. I'm gonna go ahead and work this whole side. I can tell you right off the bat, this is my first time ever using a dual action type orbital sander. And I had a cotton pad on it. It seemed like it wasn't cutting it good enough, so I went ahead and switched to a wool pad. It's still not cutting it very well. It seems like I'm having a hard time getting that shine that I want. And I don't know if it has to do with it being that it's a DA sander. So what I'm gonna do, pull my electric, just basic buffer. I'm gonna buff that side, see how long it takes to get a mirror finish, and then we'll compare sides. I think this would be better just as a sander. This thing is just not giving me the results I want. We tried cotton, we tried wool, now we have the foam pad on there. It doesn't seem to be cutting this heavily oxidized paint. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab my regular buffer and we're gonna hit this side. I've been buffing for about 15 minutes. If I sanded it, it probably would buff out a lot faster. So honestly, I think this is gonna be better as just a sander. It's starting to rain and my 55 Plymouth, the driver window won't roll up, so I need to move it inside. We needed the rain, but it's gonna ruin my video. Oh man, where do I start? That would be a good sander. That is a buffer. If you have a really nice car and you're just trying to polish it, buff it up a little bit, spot buff it, this thing's fine, it's perfect. If you have a car that's faded, old, you're reviving an old car, old school all the way. You gotta, matter of fact, I'm gonna go ahead and buff the whole car with my OG buffer. Just to give this thing a fighting chance, I'm gonna go ahead and throw a 2000 grit pad on it, and then I'm gonna buff it with my normal buffer. This took 15 minutes, so I did this side 15 minutes, that side 15 minutes, and it never died on me. See, it works great as just a sander. Like if you wanted to buff an old car paint job and you didn't have an air compressor, and you know what? I actually bought this buffer from Harbor Freight, and the buffer that replaced this buffer, I bought from Harbor Freight, and I had that buffer for 14 years. Used the crap out of it. It's buffed a ton of junk cars. Never gave me any problems. And one day I accidentally ran it over with my pickup truck. I left it in the driveway. And that's the only reason I bought this year, was because I ran my old one over and crushed it in half. And it even still worked. It worked, it was just broken in half, and the button, I ended up taping it for a little bit. Dang, check this out. Oh yeah. Driver door is done. Looks mucho beautiful. Got a little bit of reflection. I mean, it's old single stage paint, but I would drive it. You know, I wouldn't even paint it. I'd sand it with that little orbital and then buff it with some good compound, then wax it. And this thing would look beautiful. It has a really cool patina. Go ahead and do the fender. Pretty good, pretty good. Not too bad. Could be shinier. Could also be duller. Driver quality. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of the car. That's definitely as far as I'm gonna go with it. Just gave it a couple passes with the buffer. Really, the reason why I brought this car in to the shop, I wanted to go underneath it, check for rust, see if there's any rot, which there's some rot in the floors. The rear floors are rotted. There's some rot up in the front. Kind of get an idea for what I'd like to do to the car. And I don't know. Generally on this channel, we really like to keep it, you know, Mopar, but I don't know. I've always liked these spiders. Spider yes, spider no. I haven't been able to post videos as consistently as I would like to, and I've just been really busy with other things. Like, I don't know if you guys knew this, but I do appliances. Pretty much just refurbish them and resell them. That's what pays the bills. And I do a couple other things like park cars out. I have that Ram Charger that I'm parting out. I had a F100 that I was parting out. It's just been, it's that time of the year where stuff is really busy. You'll see a video on this car here in about a week. So this is a 54 Plymouth. I think I pulled this car home a couple weeks, well, probably about a month ago now. And I have all the videos recorded. I need to start the car up. And I'll leave that a secret on what we're gonna do with it. It's probably just gonna be like a revival car. You know, will it run, get it to fire up, see if it'll drive around. And I bought another car you probably already saw in the background. Kind of goes side by side with that 54 Plymouth. And I have some big plans, but I also have the Plymouth Roadrunner. So the 74 Roadrunner has been sitting under this tarp. It's got to be at least a couple months now. Satellite, but I'm gonna call it a Roadrunner. This car, I need to do a will it run on it too. But for right now, we're gonna do the 54 Plymouth over there in the back, and then after I do the will it run on that, then we'll go ahead and do the 74 Road-A-Lite Sat Runner. Stick this thing back in the corner somewhere. Well, cool. I'll see you guys here in a couple days. And this thing, I mean, my honest opinion, if it was to break, would I go and buy one? Probably not. And I have a power, I got buffers, I have an air compressor. If you're a guy that has a Corvette or a Dodge Charger, Dodge Challenger, it's all shined up, and you don't have an air compressor, you don't have that many tools, this thing would be perfect for you, because it comes, you can buy the pads from Harbor Freight, the nylon pads for sanding for nothing, big box of them. You know, that's fine. Maybe put some 220 grit on there and prime a fender, paint a fender, put it on the car. Yeah, that's okay. But for what I'm doing personally, messing with these old cars and doing revivals, it doesn't really make sense for me to own it. I'll probably end up giving it away to somebody. Comment down there and I'll pick somebody to send it to. I'll see you guys here in a couple days.